Hello. Well, there's been another attack in Manchester, Britain, and something like 20 people are dead. And it appears that it is, in fact, a terror attack. Um, the mainstream media is really trying to make it not a terror attack, but it clearly was. A lot of people are saying, or at least I'm reading, that it was a nail bomb. So, 20 people are dead, more than 20 people, at this Ariana Grande concert. And it seems like a lot of these terrorists are now kind of targeting these sort of moments of degeneracy in our culture. Now, I mean, I don't want to get too countercultural or something, but, it does seem like they're going into these clubs, they're going into these concerts, these places of sort of degenerate morality, and launching these attacks. And I think it does have something to say about just the level to which our society is totally alienating to somebody who is even remotely religious. And I'm not justifying the actions of this attack in any way, but I do think that when your society has degenerated to the level where it's just spreading filth across the globe, what do you really expect? And then you're importing millions of these traditionalist immigrants into your country. And Britain has done that. I mean, Britain has imported so many people from these traditional cultures, and then just totally, pumped, cultural filth into their communities. So on the one hand, I can see how this happened, why it happened, because you bring in these Muslim immigrants, they feel completely isolated from the society because it's totally against all of the values that they grew up with, and then they become extremists and start killing people. Of course, it's not acceptable. Of course, it's not good. But it's kind of inevitable in a way when you really think about it. Now, what should be the Christian response to this? Well, I think a lot of Christians, and I'm not talking about normal Christians, I'm talking about these sort of Christian thought leaders. Their first response is, well, let's just forgive them and everything will be fine, and God will bring us together. Well, it's just not going to happen. First of all, when Jesus said, forgive people, I was reading in Luke just the other day, and he's talking about, if your brother comes to you and asks for your forgiveness, even if he comes 7 times in one day and asks for your forgiveness, then you forgive him. But if your brother offends you, this is Matthew 5, if your brother offends you, you go to him and ask for him to apologize, to make it right, and he doesn't make it right, then you go to the church. So you don't just, you can't just, forgive and forget, when somebody hates you, when there's an existential threat to, your society and the people you love. I think a lot of people, they look at these things like these terrorist attacks, and they say, well, this is just a chance for us to forgive and show our love for Jesus and not become hateful. And they think that this is good for humanity, but it's not. They think it's good for their brothers. Like Jesus said, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Oh, well, I would want people to forgive me. Well, there's some truth in that, but when you refuse to do anything, and saying, I forgive you, I mean, that's really what it is. It's just refusing to do anything. Hold a candlelight vigil or something like that, but then don't do anything. You're not looking out for the interests of other people. in this specific instance, you're not looking out for the interests of, British people, other British people, when you continue to flood the country with immigration. You're not looking out for the best interests of the British people when you flood the entire society with this sort of cultural degeneracy. Yeah, you're just not doing anybody a favor. You're not helping anyone. So it's a disaster. I would argue it was basically an inevitable disaster, based on the situation that's been created, the social situation that's been created in Britain, but to be honest, throughout the entirety of what was formerly known as Christendom. I have Muslim friends. I live in China, and I have one friend who's a Pakistani Muslim, and we talk about religion all the time. And I don't want to just vilify all Muslims, like, oh yes, all Muslims are gonna blow us up. I mean, I'm not in any way saying this, but what I am saying is that this conflict, this cultural and religious conflict between, a traditionalist society like Pakistan and a full-on end of history liberal democracy like Britain, post-religious democracy like Britain. It's just a toxic mix. Of course it's not going to work out because there's no level of understanding between these people. And there's probably not any level of understanding that even can exist amongst these people because they're living in totally different logical constructs and they're not even seeing eye to eye. They're just going about their lives, walking next to each other on the sidewalk. And to the, post-Christian British person, that Muslim is just a feature of the landscape. And for the Muslim, that, last man, white person is just a feature of the landscape, and they're never going to talk to each other. So that's my take on it. It's just what's going to happen. It's just what's going to happen. So I hope it gets better. And I hope Christians do learn to sort of face the facts for what they are and not to just cop out with this thing like, oh, we're just going to forgive. No. Do something, do something to fix this problem. But anyway, this is the Christian Explorer. I hope you explore something today. Maybe it's just the news surrounding this attack. But God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful day.